Good afternoon, first of all. Welcome to the Telc English Test B2. My name is Miriam, and this is my colleague Suzanne. Now, as you probably know, the test has 3 parts, but before we start, we would like you to say something about yourselves and just introduce yourselves, please.
My name is Ingrid. I tried to learn English for a long time, and I started it when I got a few friends in England and in Norway, in America, and I thought it would be a good training to take a class too. I'm married, I'm 65 years old with 3 adult children, so that's the most important.
So where are you born, where are you from in Germany?
I was born in Bavaria, in Mittelfranken, near Ansbach.
Okay, well, my name is Dominic. I'm 20 and I'm from Frankfurt, and I'm doing this test to get a certificate to prove my English skills. And I've been in California 4 years ago for a year abroad, so that's where I got my most English speaking experience from. Like, I never took any classes, I just learned it by doing.
Mm-hmm. But you learned it at school too?
Yes.
Yes. And you went to California for a students' exchange?
Yes.
Or? Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I
Okay.
went to high school there for a year.
Good.
To high school.
Thank you very much. Then we will start with the first part of the test. And in the first part of the test, you are expected to give a short presentation of about 90 seconds. And while you are giving a presentation, the other person listens carefully and then puts a question at the end.
Okay.
Would you like to start, please?
Yeah. I like to read a lot of books. And I prefer English books, English literature, especially of the 19th century. And I like to read big ones like Anthony Trollope or Elizabeth Gaskell, Thomas Hardy, and so on. But I don't want to stick always to the old ones. And so I go to a literature class Wednesday here in Aschaffenburg at the Martinus House, where we are reading very modern books. I wouldn't read them alone, only in a group, because it's sometimes too hard. And I like also the detective stories. For English or American, that doesn't matter, but not such Swedish ones. They are too cruel for me.
Okay. So your favorite genre is like criminal books or more drama books or?
Novels. I prefer
okay.
novels. I prefer novels.
Okay.
Okay, Dominic, what would you like to talk about?
Yeah, I would like to talk about a rave I went to this year with my friends. It was like an outdoor techno festival thing it's called Polowiesen, and it was near Düsseldorf. And we went there just this summer after I came back from the United States from visiting my host parents, and we went there by car, took all my friends with me, and we went there to see 2 favorite DJs of ours. They're called Extrawelt, and we had to wait longer to see them because one of the DJs that wanted to play before them was sick, so another one we didn't like had to play longer, which wasn't that nice, but well, they started eventually, so yeah, it was really nice, but on the way back we got a ticket for speeding on the Autobahn.
Was it very expensive?
Yes, we are 50 kilometers per hour too fast, so...
Can you keep your driving license on?
I didn't drive.
The other one?
My friend, he has to give it away for like a month. Yeah. It was still fun though.
And you went there just for music. Do you like to dance to this music?
Yes, of course.
It went through the whole night?
Yeah, it started in the morning and
So.
went to in the late afternoon. It didn't go overnight.
Okay, thank you very much. That was part 1. And now we move to the second part, part 2, which is a discussion. You have just read an article called Mere Months Are Now Milestones. We would like you to discuss the contents of this article, and after you've done that, to talk about your own experience about the problems that are mentioned in this article. Would you like to start now?
Yes, well, I think the problem is that people nowadays, they are not quite sure of their relationship, and because people get into relationships without really wanting to commit themselves just for being in a relationship, that's what they get into one. And so because they are unsure of themselves, they have to prove how to themselves that their relationships are like stable. That's why they have like 1 month anniversaries and stuff like that. That's my opinion on the topic.
And I think the relationships are very quickly very deep, it seems, from the outside, but in reality it's just on the surface.
Superficial things.
Yeah. And they need to do big things to tell them to other people, but if there are problems, they are not discussed, I think, and that's why many relationships are breaking very quickly.
Yeah.
I can say this, I'm married for 41 years, so it was very different in years ago, I think.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's the thing is, our society nowadays is really superficial, and people don't really care about what's inside. It's just matters what's on the outside. So I think that goes with relationships the same way as with like clothing or stuff like that.
And it seems that what stars and football players do, that is made by normal people afterwards. They take it as something which has to be done.
Yeah, they like try to copy
yes.
Celebrities too, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
And it's interesting that not the wedding anniversary is the most important to celebrate. The first meeting, as the articles say, the first date, the first kiss. And a few times afterwards there comes another person and there's a new celebration. So it's very hard, I think. It's not good for the relationship.
Yeah, I don't think relationships that have to celebrate 1 month anniversaries will last long.
Yeah, for me it's unbelievable to celebrate after 1 month, because I think one doesn't know each other really.
Yeah.
There is much more time needed to know another person and to know what the other one thinks and what the other one wants and so on. So these anniversaries are a bit strange.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, thank you very much for the discussion. We'll move to part 3 now. And in part 3, you have been invited by a group of people to give a talk about spending time abroad and the different ways of doing this. Could be, for example, like a school exchange or an au pair working abroad or a work experience. And I would like you now to discuss about the advantages of the different ways of learning a language abroad, as well, for example, the costs, the length of stay, the place, and so on and so forth. So decide on your own ideas and just discuss it between you.
You made the experience with the high school in California, so it's your turn to tell about this.
Well, I think an exchange year is probably the best way to learn a language, because you actually go to school there and you're just having your life there as if you would be in Germany, but you have everything in English. Like, there's no way for you to talk German because you're in an English environment, and in English school you have English friends and English host parents, so there's no way to not learn English this way.
You stayed in a family?
Yes.
Ah, yeah.
And the thing is, it's the longest day too, but it's a year, it's an entire year. I mean, I went when I was 15, so right after 9th grade I just went a year abroad, and it's kind of tough because you're on the other side of the planet. For me it was, so yeah. And it's expensive too if you stay there for a year, but I think the shorter stays, like an au pair for just half a year, or I don't know, like a trip for 2 weeks or something, you don't learn anything there. It's just like a vacation, and So you're not forced to learn as if you would stay for a year.
Another way, what I learned with my 3 children, they went for 1 year Erasmus, it is called, to study in another country. My daughter was for 1 year in Birmingham, and one son was in Montpellier in France, and the youngest one, he was in Copenhagen. And there I think a lot of the money the costs are paid by a special part of the BAföG system, so it's not too extreme, and it depends on the country. My youngest son in Copenhagen, they did it very well in the students' home, because he lived on a flat with 12 students, and there were allowed only 3 foreigners, so he had to speak English or Danish at least. And this was very well. And my daughter lived with 3 English girls in one flat, so it was very nice, and they all would do it again. Because they made so many experiences. But I think on the exchange, students exchange Erasmus, they are meeting a lot of other countries, not only the country in which they live, but also the one in France. He got to know Spanish and Italians, and they stay in contact also today, years after this year.
Yeah, it's similar with my exchange experience, because I went with they're called AFS, and so we first met with everyone from everywhere around the world who stayed in California at this time. So we I don't know, 40 people or so, and they're from everywhere, from Europe or South America, from everywhere. So you got to meet a lot of people from around the globe too, and we still are in contact as well over Facebook and stuff. And well, another thing about the cost is there are different organizations who do it. Some are more expensive, but you can pick where you want to stay, and others are less expensive because they're not profit orientated. You know what I mean? So So if you want to go to the US, it'd be like you can go everywhere, but you don't know where. And if you pay more money, you can pick where you want to stay. But I think the one where you pay less and don't really pick it makes it easier, because your host parents don't get money for just having you, so they actually want to have you. They don't do it for the money. They do it because they want to, and that's
important.
Yeah.
I think because they will to offer you also things.
And because they want to do it from themselves, and not just because they get money for having someone staying at their house.
So if you have to talk to this group of young people, it would be good if you tell your experiences, and then we could maybe say something about au pairs and then about students. So for every age there's something to go to another country, and it's natural that you learn the language even better. And I think it is good if you go to another country to go a few weeks before you start with your studies and to take a course in this language. So our youngest one took a course in phonetics in Danish. He learned Danish in Germany, but he took a course in phonetics because speaking a language is not, it's sometimes hard, and so it made it easier for him.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I had English in school before I went to the US, so I kind of knew a little bit English. But if you would go to a country where there's a language you never learned before, then I would take some language classes too, because otherwise you go there and know nothing. And it's really hard to learn anything when you don't understand even a word.
And sometimes at the universities they ask for a test. That these things don't happen, because then people would sit in a seminar and don't understand anything.
Right.
So that's...
Okay, so you've come up with some very good ideas of how to talk to these young people, and that is the end of the test. We thank you for coming, and we wish you a nice afternoon.
Thank you.
We thank you.